very gloomy out there.
Yeah, it was just
Sun's gone in and it looks a bit greyish.
A little bit like a moth attracted to the light there, looking at the scoreboards on that far side. That was I was getting lost in the numbers over there. They're quite bright. It's alright though, there's patches of blue here and around. Nothing like yesterday.
Bernard says the live stream on YouTube did vanish, but if listeners exit the app and return, the hyperlink is there and working again.
Hyperlink?
Yeah. That's not just any link, that's a hyperlink. He says, I suppose modern technology can never be 100% reliable. Helm Bowles, defended by Jones. I'll try and get it back on the tablet now. I thought it was Kevin's fault for touching the screen.
I see.
Not to.
I was going out for a coffee at that
it's
point.
It's local knowledge, you see. I know how temperamental it can be.
What, your tablet?
No, the stream.
Ah.
There we are.
Marty's temperamental tablets.
It's back with us now. 64.2 overs. Yeah, that's good. We're back. We're back in the world of the living.
You're a travelling salesman with that, couldn't you? Marcy's temperamental tablets.
What would they be treatments for? Helm in. And Jones drives. It's only gone up to mid-off though. No run.
Too sedate a lifestyle. Be a bit more temperamental.
An email from Northern Rail, which reminds me of just how conditions were here last week while I had hid in the house with the windows open and people were melting in the ground during the One Day International.
Yeah.
Because Durham installed loads of water points ahead of that One Day.
What, around the ground?
Yeah. So you'd fill up with your bottle. In comes Helm. This is played by Jones out towards short mid-wicket.
Only a temporary installation?
No, they're still there.
Okay.
But yeah, the cameras caught a queue of some people around the back of the stand queuing for water, but the staff were all hands to the pumps, literally, and they were bringing big bottles of water out to fill up people's water bottles out in the car park as well, because it was stiflingly hot. Anyway, Northern Trains say they're going to do the same. They're going to put in water dispensers
on the trains
at stations.
Oh, at stations.
The network. So if you use the train, you can take your water bottle with you. In comes Helmy Bowles, and this is defended on-off stump by Jones. No run there.
Yeah, town centres have them now as well, don't they? Have a water dispenser in your town centre. Well, there is one in my local one anyway.
Do you all have to queue in the street with your buckets?
Actually, that's a good point, isn't it? Save on the water bill.
That's how the plague began, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, they were all they were pumping water up from the wells under the towns they were living in, which were slowly filling up with everything else at that time as well. Hope you're enjoying your lunch. 177 for one.
Could be seeing that granola bar again in a minute.
Helm to Jones. Jones looks to drive. He gets a bottom edge on that one and it bounces away up towards mid-on. And that is the end of the over. It's another maiden.
Did you say you went for the curry as well for lunch?
Yeah.
Was that 3 for curry?
Sri Lankan curry. Might be a bit sweeter if it's a Sri Lankan curry, mightn't it?
Here's hoping, eh? Still, it's a big old commentary box, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I hope the temperature doesn't drop. Keep these windows wide open. What'd you have for breakfast, Marcy?
I actually had the same as you, if you had what you said you had earlier.
Here's Holman.
And the number 3.
He's in bowls, and this ball's pushed away to mid-wicket, and no run. No, I didn't say I had it, did I? I had a couple of poached eggs this morning.
No, you said you'd had
fried
3 Weetabix. That's what you said.
No, I think I was just playing along with you at that point.
Right.
But
well, I believe you see. I believe everything you tell me.
Some fried tomatoes, mushrooms, it's lovely.
You've got to have a bit of control, though, haven't you, when you're in a hotel?
This ball's full, driven to cover, and there's no run. That was control. I skipped the hash browns, skipped the pork sausages.
Apparently,
the bacon,
best
skipped
egg
it all.
to have is a fried egg, because it actually, as it's cooking, absorbs less fat.
Really?
Yeah.
Less fat than the poached eggs? How's that?
Yeah. This was a BBC documentary with one of those doctor types.
Almond bowls is pushed back to mid-off, and there's no run. I thought that was the worst one to have as a fried egg.
No, because it's the way the egg cooks in it. But yeah, I mean, you've the obvious thing would be go and have a full bifter every morning, wouldn't it? But I might have a bifter like first day at a hotel, and then the rest of the week I just have cereal or whatever.
It's dug out into the onside, 177 for one.
You've got to biffed responsibly.
I usually start the season with a few hash browns, and then you realise quite quickly actually I better stop those. Just a couple of poached eggs, some tomatoes and mushrooms.
Well, you deserved it, having walked 7,000 miles last night to buy a coat.
Holman Bowls, this is dug out by Borthwick, and there's no run. That was no walk at all, Marty. You're a cycling man. Surely you do long walks as well, don't you?
I do. I mean, I would go out and do on a morning, drop the little one off at school and go and do a 4-mile walk along the seafront.
There you go, see? 4-mile walk?
Yeah.
Along the seafront in the morning before the start of play?
No, well, not on a play day.
Holman drags this one down and School's pushed to cover, and there's no one. I thought every day's a play day for you, Marcy.
Yeah. Got to have a good podcast. Good podcast you can listen to while out on your morning walk.
Oh, it's important to clear the mind as well, though, isn't it, Marcy?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
Clearing the mind. I just find I get angry with the podcast I'm listening to. There's some really good podcasts out there at the minute.
What's top of your lists?
Oh, there's been some good series from the BBC recently. There's a Conspiracy Theorists. That's quite good. It's quite funny.
Is that David Townsend's podcast?
During the Tour de France, the Never Strays Far podcast with Ned Bolting and David Miller's quite a good listen. Very funny yesterday, after the final stage in Paris. Doing a Scouse version of Nairo Quintana, the cyclist, which was quite funny. What else has been?
Should any of us know what that just meant? A Scouse version of who?
Nairo Quintana, who's from South America. Yeah, he's from Colombia.
Cyclist.
Defended. Change of bowling here. Bamber coming into the attack to replace Helm from the Lumley end.
Well, I wondered would these two actually come back after lunch. Bamber and Holman just get up to that. Bamber and Helm get up to the new
now?
ball.
14 overs to the new ball.
Yeah, it's a little way to go. They'll have to have a little burst of something after lunch. Maybe it'll be Holman and a rotation of Helm and Bamber. Anyway, go on. Sorry, you're
so anyway,
cyclist that nobody's ever heard of.
What do you mean he's never heard of? He's won the Giro d'Italia, and did he win the Tour once or not? Or come second, didn't he?
Is that a sport?
Unbelievable. Bamber in, a nice controlled edge down towards vacant third man. Orders at the bar, please, as it goes across the rope for 4. Right down below our commentary position. Jones on strike there. Durham edging towards their first batting point. They are 181 for 1. And Jones has 112 of those from 215 balls. What other podcasts are there? If you go on the BBC Sounds, there's quite a few decent ones on there, and they've started loading up some classic albums as well. So I was, I've downloaded recently this Kate Bush's album. Was it Cloud Bustin'?
What's her famous song, Kate Bush?
She's had lots of them. Bamber Bowls is defended. Well, the current one holds the record for the longest time from release to actually getting to number 1, doesn't it? That was Hounds. Was it Hounds of Love, or was it Hounds of Love? That was it, or Walking Up That Hill that recently got number 1.
I have no idea.
But she made it as her only number 1 until then had been her debut hit when she was about 17, Wuthering Heights, back in the late 70s. Bamber from the Lumley end balls. Played down into the ground by Jones. It bounces away from the stumps to the keeper. Any suggestions for podcasts that we might want to listen to? There's obviously Dan Whiting and the team from County Matters. You've been on that.
Nice, have you?
Yeah, the County Matters podcast. They do a roundup of events at the end of every week. There's obviously the TMS podcast from the BBC during the summer as well. Jones on strike, defends this one from Bamber. On a rival radio station, James O'Brien from LBC has some interesting guests on his podcast. Not necessarily the sort of people you'd expect to hear on his show, but some interesting people on there. Jeremy Paxman did one as well, and it was called In the Pub with Jeremy Paxman, but he launched it just as lockdown came in. So all the pub noises were from a tape, I think. Bamber balls, played away this time by Jones towards mid-wicket. No
Did you
run.
ever have a podcast, Marty?
I was the first one there many moons ago.
What happened to it?
Well, it was...
You were the first. You used to have millions of followers by now, aren't there?
Yeah. We scrapped it in the end.
How many
Launched it
episodes in?
2 seasons in. We launched it in 2009,
Yeah.
and it was dedicated to Durham County Cricket Club, so it was the first podcast dedicated to a county
I
side.
think I remember that now you say it.
And first season was quite good, then the second season, for whatever reason, my shifts changed and things like that, and just...
Second seasons are always the
second
problem,
season
aren't they?
syndrome. Managing to get the games was becoming a bigger problem, and just eventually ran out of material for it. And
You ran out of material, Marcy.
I couldn't get the games, that was the issue.
Holman bowls, stuck out into the offside by Borthwick. There's no run. It's a bit like Prison Break. It was good in season 1. By the time we got season 2, it was...
Well, if they haven't got out of prison by the end of season 1, they're not very good at it, are they? Really? That would be my take. That's one of those series I've not seen.
Holman gives it a bit of flight and ball's driven away just wide of Roland Jones at mid-off. Well run. Nice taken single. Borthwick's on to 11, 182 for 1.
You mentioned a series last night. Oh yeah, it was the one about the fire. What were the episodes you were mentioning yesterday? It was the Fire Brigade, wasn't it? Rescue Me in America. Round about the same time, there was a series, I think it was called Huff. Can you remember that?
Ooh.
That only ran for about 2 series, so that was really good.
Huff.
Yeah.
Run out of puff.
Yeah.
Holman bowls. This is driven away through the covers. And single more taken, 183 for 2. Made it to the second series, eh? Was it?
Well,
was it
Hank
Huff?
Azaria, who does the Simpsons voices, he was the main character in it. He was a psychiatrist.
Right.
Most of his issues, it was him dealing with his mother.
Yeah.
But his mate, who was played by Oliver Platt, the actor, you'll have seen him in a lot of things.
Yeah.
He lived this very hedonistic lifestyle, which caused all kinds of problems.
Holman's Borthwick. Oh, tempted cut through to the gloves of the keeper.
But it was very watchable.
Yeah, go on. What are you telling us about this for?
Because I was trying to remember of it yesterday, and it came out around about the same time as Rescue Me.
But it was no good.
It was very good, and it was...
Why only 2 series then?
Well, that's what happens in America, isn't it?
It's Holman bowls. Bumped wide of Roland Jones. Throw at the non-strikers end. They're through again. Good running. Borthwick's on to 12. 184 for 1.
If the audience don't... Say series 1's like Modern Family. How many series of Modern Family there's been?
Oh, about 11.
Yeah, I mean, that's cracking, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Isn't that the most watched comedy in the world at the moment?
Is it?
I think so. But they rewrite it as they go along because they're constantly testing episodes on, these groups of...
That's good, that. Holman bowls, and this is driven away out to deep cover for a single, 185 on. It's done now, isn't it? They've cancelled it after 11-12 series or whatever.
What, have they Modern Family?
Yeah. Oh no, Modern Family. Sorry, I'm thinking of Modern Family. Yeah, it's done.
Is it?
Yeah. I was confusing it with Family Guy for a moment when you were saying it was still going. Yeah, Modern Family. It's done. Yeah.
Well, we
very sad when that one finished.
Sometimes old episodes of it appear on the telly and all the kids are kids again, and it's to see because they all became adults. It was on that long, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well worth watching though, Modern Family and Huff. If you can find it out there somewhere, it'll be on one of these systems. It was a good watch, but there was 26 episodes, but it only went over two seasons, and it was pulled in 2006.
That's the shock of that when you get into one and they pull it.
Going back to that era, I remember being away on holiday and we'd watched the first series of 24. Can you remember that? And then we were in the second series and we loaned our videotape to some friends to record the episodes while we were away, and when we came back the tape had snapped in the video machine.
Oh.
So that was it. Got to about 3 episodes of season 2 of 24 and that was the end of that.
Oh. That one did well. That got better as it went along.
But his daughter had this unbelievable ability to keep being caught having escaped from wherever, didn't she?
Yep.
You think she would have learned as time went on not to trust these people. There's nothing happening here at the minute. There's an eternal delay before the next over is about to begin. It's Bamber coming in now to bowl to Jones, who Plays the ball nicely out towards the point boundary for 1 run.
There's a little bit of a lull, as listeners may be suspecting.
It's just flattened out again now, isn't it?
69th over, so the ball's pretty old.
Lunch.
But also that, exactly. And the wicket falling. Borthwick's 12 from 53. He'll be looking to...
Got over the drama of the 100. Getting there.
Oh, none of us have got over the drama of the 100 yet.
Yeah, but the century today.
That starts again soon.
The early lunch is now being taken at Scarborough. They never got on. More fish and chips for the lads. You know, and people talk about scraps with the fish and chips when it's clearly batter. It's always controversial, that, I think.
Go on.
Well, it's batter, isn't it? But people in Yorkshire call it scraps.
What, just the little bits at the ends?
It's batter.
Yeah. What, and they get all excited over the scraps?
Well, they call it scraps.
Why, are they trying to say it's not just batter, but it is?
Well, it's scraps of batter, I suppose, but it's batter, isn't it? Bamber in bowls. Ball played nicely off towards point by Borthwick for a quick single. Soft hands there.
One man scraps.
I'm hungry now, by the way, are you?
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
One man scraps, another man's...
batter. Beer batter.
Oh, it needs lunch. It needs the new ball, this game at the moment, doesn't it? It's but well, it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, Durham are doing a very, very good job here of just moving things along themselves, ticking the scoreboard over.
The run rates have followed a pattern this year where things tend to just flatten out in an afternoon. The new ball will inject a bit of life into the game, and then it'll flatten out again. Bamber in and played to backward point to Holman by.
I mean. So
Jones, no run.
69th over of the innings, nearly buzzers at the non-strikers in there. 69th over of the innings, the run rate's only 2.7. Now you'd think, 69th over, they've been scrapping a bit then, haven't they? But they're 1 down, so that's where the game is at the moment, really. That run rate's not going to go too far at the moment. What's Holman gone for off his overs? He's only gone for 10 off 5. Those scampered singles, odd scampered single here and there. Bamber's gone for 2.7. And the economy of the innings 2.7. So this second new ball,
Bamber in, and a thick edge along the floor to Holman again at backward point. No run.
Well, there's the game, isn't it? That the run rate's dried up. Put the ball in a length like that, and just see if they drive at something that's not quite there, and does that bring the mistake before the new ball? Because otherwise, 10 overs down the line now, the second new ball becomes available. They're 20 runs further along, so they're 210 on the board. Middlesex would still think, right, okay, second new ball, let's see if this does something. And Durham haven't got that far ahead, which seems an odd thing to say when a side are only 1 down after, 80 overs.
It's fended down into the ground. Quick single, it goes between first slip and gully. Good running there.
I think it's just good cricket from both sides here. Middlesex are persisting, top of off. It's not allowing Durham to score quickly. Durham batting very patiently, taking what runs they can.
Was that a dog?
There's a little yelp from somewhere.
Somebody stood on a dog. Ben Slater's got a half century for Notts. They're 85 for 4 on day 1 of their game in Trent Bridge against Sussex. Oh my lord, Derbyshire are batting again already. Second innings of their game against Worcestershire. 21 for 1 they are after they were bowled out for 130, and then Worcestershire were dismissed for 185. What's going on down there? Is the water table high on the 7? This is pulled by Borthwick down towards Holman at long leg.
Last game of the season for Middlesex down at Worcestershire.
Is it?
Very much.
Up at Worcester you'll go.
Up at Worcester.
Yeah.
They'll be
down from here.
Down from here. They'll be very much hoping that it's a promotion game, those two teams.
Warwickshire at the Oval were out for 253. Surrey are 72 for 3. At Cheltenham at the Festival, day 2 of the game between Gloucestershire and Northants. Gloucestershire out yesterday for 317. Northants 134 for 1.
You're a fan of a festival, Marty?
Yeah, I like that. I like Cheltenham. It was a good week, that.
No, away from cricket. Are you a festival fan?
Oh, yes.
What kind of festivals would we find you at?
We'll be at one at the weekend, and we were at one last week in Sunderland, which was actually, it was quite sad. We got tickets for the Cubics Festival in Sunderland, and I was
What's a Cubics for? Rubik's Cubics?
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Rubik's.
What is it?
It's it was a music festival featuring in the weekend we went was indie bands from the 90s.
Oh.
And 80s.
Holman's in, bowls, solid forward defence from Borthwick. There's no run. I told you hadn't left the 90s, Martin.
Yeah, but the sad news I was going to bring you was that one of the big acts on the Friday night was meant to be the Happy Mondays.
Ooh.
And that was the day Paul Ryder died, the bass guitarist.
Oh dear.
So brought about a bit of a subdued atmosphere to affairs.
Holman bowls, attempted sweep, down the leg side it goes.
But who were on that weekend? UB40 headlined that night. Ash were on, Shed 7, Pop Will Eat Itself.
Time warp for you, Marty.
Altered Images, remember them?
No.
You can't remember Altered Images?
No. What did they sing?
Happy Birthday and Don't Talk to Me About Love.
This is punched off the back
They were
foot
massive in the
by
80s.
Borthwick out to deep cover.
This is when he wasn't born until the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. I was only
What year were you born?
78, November 78.
I
was having this
Altered
conversation.
Images in their heyday about 83, 84.
Yeah, there you go. It was 4.5.
Yeah, well.
Return of the Jedi.
Have you not seen the film Gregory's Girl?
Yeah. Well,
Claire Grogan, the lead singer from Altered Images, was in that. That was a good film.
Holman bowls is punched into the offside for a single out to deep point, 191 for 1. I'm aware of the movie. I can't remember if I've seen it or not.
The undertones
50
were on as
partnership,
well.
Look at that. Jones 30, Borthwick 15, 50 partnership. 122 balls. That's crept up on us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pauses.
The undertones
Jones.
were quite loud. I think the little one, we'd forgotten her ear defenders as well, so she wasn't impressed.
Oh dear. Sounded like I needed my ear defenders for all of it, to be honest. UB40, eh? Here's Holman bowls, and this ball's clipped away out to deep mid wicket for a single, 192 for 1. No, they were good UB40, weren't they?
Yeah, well, Ali Carter, was it Ali Carter? He was back with the band as well. So
There were no Aswad, but they were still good.
no, that's why I'd give over.
I played cricket.
UB40.
I played cricket with one of the sons of the lads from Aswad.
Do you?
Yeah. Or used to. Here's a foolish delivery, push back up the track at no run, 192 for 1, end of the over. 70 gone. Oh, have you got an update?
Well,
Not just yet.
our 1 o'clock news now starts at 5 to 1 and finishes at 5 past. So
Your 1 o'clock news now
Yeah.
starts at 5 to 1.
Yeah.
Does that not make it the 5 to 1 news?
yeah, but anyway, I don't think they'll be coming to meet in about 5 past. But I just sort of listen to see where.
Why does your 1 o'clock news start at 5 to 1 now?
Because we have an hour of, it's like the guest of the year hour, time of our lives, and it used to be on a morning, late morning, I think it was.
It's guess the time of the hour, isn't it? When you tell them it's the 1 o'clock news and it's 5
that's now
2.
moved till 1 or 2, so
Just
5 past 1.
Bobulate all the listeners with the 1 o'clock news at 5 to 1.
Yeah.
I'm Martin Emerson. What was the TV show? Not the 9 o'clock news. Is this not the 1 o'clock news on BBC Newcastle?
One for our younger listeners, not the 9 o'clock news. Bamber starts a new over bowling to Borthwick here. He plays the ball down into the ground and it bounces high and then runs off short on the offside and he goes for a quick single. Another piece of good running between these two.
So it's a minute to 1 now and they're nearly halfway through the 1 o'clock news.
Yeah.
DT loves all these things when he goes around the country. Travel you can trust you get in Birmingham. What are they trying to say? You can't trust the commercial station's travel. Travel you can trust. Don't listen to the other lot, they're telling you fibs.
There's nowhere to drive in Birmingham anymore. They've knocked down Paradise Island.
Paradise Island.
Everybody's stuck on the ring road because of the what do you call it? The emissions thing in the middle.
Is there any more depressing thought than Paradise Island?
Well, they've pulled down Paradise and put up a parking lot, except they did it the other way in Birmingham. Bamber to Jones. Jones turns this nicely away towards square leg on the boundary for 1 run.
They get all upset about that at news radio stations, don't they? I've been back in the office a lot this winter. If you miss your junctions, as they call it, 1:30, top of the hour, make sure you don't miss the travel at a couple of minutes to the hour.
I
so
had
you're
one of
into
my
the news at bang on 1 o'clock.
I had one of my old anxiety dreams last night, which I don't know why it suddenly appeared back, and it did. But
Was it the day after working with me?
Yeah, probably. Bamber balls to Borthwick. This is defended. Yeah, and in the dream I started to get this bad back.
Right.
All the weightlifting I've been doing. No, it's the one where you get into the office and you're the newsreader, and there's nowhere to sit to log on.
Right.
And
the news is
you're
coming
watching
up.
the clock, and the news is coming, and you haven't even seen the running orders or the scripts, or had a chance to find out what's going on. And then you're meant to just run into a studio, and so you're trying to wing it, but you don't know what the news is, and you go from computer to computer and can't get anything to work. Bamber to Borthwick again. This is a defender that rolls out on the offside. Short, no run.
I think a lot of us have this one. Mine for a good many years. So I started in 2001, 2002. I started doing football match reports. So on a Saturday, you get up and travel around the country to wherever you're going, or on a Friday night if it was a long trip. I was covering Portsmouth back then. And every Friday night, without fail, you'd have the same butterflies and the same nightmare that you've turned up at the ground the next day, and there you are sat at the ground, you haven't got any of the kit. It's all back at your house. I'd have it every Friday night without fail.
Or, this is a nice shot from Borthwick. He's over pitch and he's drilled that away through the covers for 4 up towards the Health Club boundary. Nicely timed.
Yeah, but hold on a minute. So this honestly would have gone on for, I reckon, nearly 10 years. It happened well into... So cricket started in 2005 for me. I reckon it would have gone well on to 2009 or so. So you'd had nearly a decade of this nightmare, this anxiety dream, as you say, that you'd forget your kit. And it eventually happened then.
Well done.
I went to Cardiff one day. Middlesex commentary with Ed Bevan, T20. Joint commentaries, fortunately. But actually, no, it wasn't. They didn't do double commentaries then, so you had to do your own. Yeah. And I opened the back of the car. Where's the kit? I'd left it at home. All the way to Cardiff.
Bamber to Borthwick, that's defended. And now you turn up this week without a jumper or a coat.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing changes. I'm on. We had a slightly delayed start today because of overnight rain, so they eventually got going at 11:15, so that means lunch is not for another 7 minutes. And Durham going along nicely here. They're 2 runs away from their first batting point in this game. They're 198 for 1. Scott Borthwick, the skipper, has 21. Michael Jones, his 2nd century in first-class cricket. Both have come this year. He's currently on 118 from 226 balls. They've both just contributed to a 50-run stand as well. The only wicket to fall today, that of Alex Lees, 5th over of the morning, bowled by Toby Rowland Jones for 46. So we've got about another 6 or 7 minutes to lunch, and commentary as ever on the BBC website and the sports app. The other anxiety dreams are, and this repeats the match at Stockton a few years ago, where the only place I could find a signal was underneath the bar, so I couldn't actually see the ground, so I did all my reports for a week underneath the bar in a heat wave with all the heat spewing out from the refrigeration units and whatnot. That's a single from Jones out through cover. But do you ever have the dream where you're listening to the radio and you're suddenly listening to a game you should be commentating at, and you're thinking, why have I forgot to go there today?
I guess that one probably comes up. Yeah.
That one comes up regularly. Oh no, I meant to be at that match.
Listeners have nightmares about matches we are at, Marty.
Yes.
Holman's in, drops a little short on that one. It's punched back into the onside and there's no run. Yeah, that's quite ironic, isn't it? I've turned up to Newcastle without to Durham without a jumper or a coat. That should have been an anxiety dream.
I would like to point out, we're near Newcastle.
BBC Newcastle, I meant. Yeah. This ball's driven to cover. Oh, ball bumps past a big Newcastle fan. Mark Stoneman, no run though. He managed to recover the ball. 199 for 1.
Oh, how far it is as the crow flies from here to Newcastle.
30 miles? Look, nowhere near.
Miles. Well, I wouldn't want to walk it. I wouldn't want to walk it from here.
You do 4 miles of a morning, you said. Here's Holman bowls, and this is driven away into the offside. No run. 199 for 1. It's about 9 miles to the office from my house, I'd say. Maybe a little bit longer. 10, 11.
Along the Thames towpath.
Aye. Walk into Dirty Den. Along the Thames towpath. That's where Den met his end, wasn't it? He didn't. He came back, didn't he, Dirty Den? There goes Holman. This ball's worked through square leg for a single. Moves to 22. 200 up, batting point on the board in the 72nd over. That's how it was for the batting point, didn't they? Am I wrong, or you were an EastEnders fan, weren't you? You were always taking them off, weren't you? You always used to come down to Lords with all your accents, didn't you? There you go.
That was you selling cars in the nursery end. Well, a friend of mine, James Farrer, is a regular in EastEnders now. He's a big Sunderland fan. His dad's from up here originally.
Holman. Bowls! That was a lovely line, lovely length, and a bit of bounce. Just takes the splice of the bat into the onside as Jones rides it well in the end. 119 from 230 deliveries for Jones, 22 from 68 from Borthwick. Durham have a batting point on the board at the end of the 72nd over. They're 200 for 1 with a run rate which is just nudged to 2.8. They did get it up and over 3 at one point, didn't they, between Lees and Jones, but Middlesex got it back down. They'll be looking to keep it there or thereabouts. So here's another one. I did wonder yesterday.
Do you still watch EastEnders?
I've never in my life watched EastEnders.
I don't know anyone who watches it.
Couldn't bear it. The doom and gloom.
Because I asked James's dad which character he plays. He said, I don't know, I don't watch it.
Do you know what?
There you are. This is visual, but that's a picture of James.
And what? He's a Durham fan, did he say? Or his dad is? He
was with us at Wembley 2 or 3 years ago, but he's travelled all over the country watching football with us over there.
Okay.
And I stayed with the family when I worked at 5 Live a few years ago down in London. He's been in Hollyoaks.
Friend of the Stars, Martin Emerson.
He was in that one, the sort of CSI English crime.
Is he a cricket fan?
Oh, he watches a bit of cricket.
Have you ever had him up here on the mic with you?
No.
That's remiss of you, isn't it? View from the boundary. At Chestley Street. Peter Milan is into the attack.
He was in Silent Witness, that was it, yeah.
Bit of right arm over medium pace. Let's run away down to third. Nice from Borthwick. Will it go? No, it won't. Yadav catches it up from backward point. They've run 2. Borthwick's on to 24. Might just have to think that one through. Middlesex. Right arm over to the left-hander. Just angled away down to the vacant third.
He apparently plays a character called Zach Hudson in EastEnders, who I think is Sharon's brother, but I don't know.
It would actually give me anxiety watching EastEnders, I think. It's too depressing for me.
Yeah.
Actually, it would. It would genuinely give me anxiety.
Get out of my pub, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Milan bowls, and this ball's pushed back to mid-off, no run.
Could you tell me, fine landlady, do you have any house red? Get out of my pub.
Definitely be caravan red in there, wouldn't it? Never mind house red. Milan bowls. This ball's cut away to cover, and there's no run. Peckham Springs water as well. You'd have been an Only Fools and Horses fan, wouldn't you? Dave Bracegirdle watched the stage play when he came down to London for the Nottinghamshire match.
Yeah,
he went to see it in the theatre, yeah. I wonder, was it Grandad or Uncle Albert they had in the stage play? Milan's in, bowls, and this ball's driven out to deep point, just a single. 2-0-3 for 1. Nice shot for 1. Borthwick's on to 25. His strike rate's 34, Borthwick. Jones still up over 50. Middlesex. In the morning, trickling towards lunch. Darren, we're quite happy on 203 for 1, but 8 overs after lunch. This will be the last over before the interval, so 8 overs after lunch. It's almost as though Middlesex are making sure this is the last over before
lunch.
They
are, aren't they? This is a partnership of 62 from these two from 140
It's taking their time about this. Get out there, can they buy a wicket with the feet not moving after lunch before that second new ball? Milan's in, bowls, nice line and length, defended to point by Jones, and there is 1 over left of the session. It's just hit 10 past 1. You don't often see the fielding side.
What's that bowling rate? Is it -2, does that say?
Yeah, you don't often see the fielding side delaying for lunch. You often see the batters doing it. Here's Milan, he's in, bowls, and this ball's down the leg side, taken by Simpson, whips off the bail, a cry of catch as well, and about as much drama as we saw all session long in that last ball from the fielding side, other than the ball from Roland Jones, which nipped back, may or may not have taken the inside edge of Lees' bat. It certainly took the top of the bails, and that the 1 wicket in 73 overs so far for 203 runs. Durham will be mightily pleased. Middlesex keeping control of them, though, a run rate of only 2.8, and that with a short boundary as well, it must be said. So all to play for after lunch, but it's still a little bit of a waiting game, Martin Emerson, on this innings, just to feel really where it's going, because again, Middlesex, if something happens for them with that second new ball, which isn't ridiculous to think, they get a second new ball in hand and start to just get something happening, then They could really come back at Durham quite quickly in this.
Yeah, they've not really had those sort of games here though. They've been quite slow burners. Got another one going on here. Anyway, that is lunch. We'll leave it there then. Jones on 119 from 232 balls, Borthwick 25 from 72, Partnership 62, Durham 203 for 1. They have a batting point. We'll be back with you in 40 minutes.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy going to air shows with Dad. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
The care and expertise Derek takes over his beloved Spitfire is the same precision, passion and attention to detail he takes helping you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors, it's all in the detail.
We've always been good at designing niche products for consumers. So our thinking was, if we can use the same design skills on products which have got more volume, we'll be more successful. The big issue was the plan to do it. We set a figure of a capacity to make 250,000 pieces a year. That's an ambitious target, but that's our figure. So we then worked with the machinery designers to make the washing machines. Number one in this product, it's got to be reliable. A washing machine has a lot of hard work to do, and it's a very important part of most households. So reliability was a big issue. I think any new product, we've got to learn about it, and that's important. We've got to learn about it so we understand it inside out. And that's taken longer than we expected, but we've taken our time to make sure that it's right. There's a big appetite for buying British products, and rightly so, but we can't rely on that. We've got to make a product that competes with all the imports. And of course, remember, we've got our core business here of making domestic dehumidifiers and bottled water coolers and industrial dehumidifiers, so that takes our time, and we don't want to get this wrong. We've done 120,000 hours of testing washing machines here to make sure that it's absolutely reliable and does the job.
Well, welcome back to Chesney Street for the afternoon session on day 2 here of Durham against Middlesex. Durham at lunch, 203 for 1. Michael Jones 119 from 232 balls. Scott Borthwick 25 from 72 deliveries in a partnership of 62 runs from 142 balls. 73 overs gone. There's still 72 overs left in the day, so we've got an awful lot of cricket ahead of us in this extended day. And just the 1 wicket falling this morning. Alex Lees bowled for 46 by Toby Rowland-Jones after an opening stand of 141 with Michael Jones. Batsman just heading back out into the middle now. And we're ready to get underway again. It's not too bad outside. Just been for a lap of the ground. It's warmish. It's just a little bit overcast still. Martin Emerson with you here from BBC Radio Newcastle. Rob Rush and Kevin Hand from Radio London, your commentary team. And managed to get a full lap of the ground in after our curry, which I think we all went down the curry route at lunchtime, which was rather nice. So I'll be doing an update for Radio Newcastle at 2, and then into the afternoon session in full swing. Kevin's just gone for his 93rd coffee of the day.
Has he changed his order up there? That's the thing. Is it the same coffee for the 93rd time?
It's a Choco Mocha Locker latte or something. I don't know.
Too fancy for my liking.
Yeah. First ball of the day cut out through the covers. First ball of the session cut out through the covers by Scott Borthwick for 1 run. Moves on to 26. So Durham bagging the batting point just before the lunch break. In comes Holman, the spinner. Flights that right in towards the feet of Jones. Plays that safely away. Back to short extra cover. Keeper standing up the stumps for the spinner. That one's out the back of the hand. Jones forward with a big stride and goes down on one knee to play that one. Holman from the Finkel end comes in and bowls. Got the bottom of the bat on that one there. Jones just kept that out late. It's skidded through. If no further rain, play to resume at 2:15 in Scarbados. They haven't had any play there, I don't think, do they?
Had a few overs.
They got a few in, did they? This is flicked away quickly by Jones up to mid-on for 1 run.
I think we got on.
Couldn't have been on for long then.
We got on for scheduled start of play. Hampshire wrapped up Yorkshire's innings, and then Hampshire have lost both openers, Holland and Organ.
Right.
So last I checked, Hampshire were about 13 for 2.
Holman in. Nice cut shot by Borthwick. He's going to come back for a second here. The ball out towards deep point. Good running. End of the over. And 4 runs from it.
Looks like it will be Milan to continue from the Lumley end. Bowled just the 1 over before lunch. Went for 3 runs. I think Middlesex are very much playing for the new ball here, trying to get to it as quickly as possible to bring their first choice bowlers in with the new cherry. Likely be skipper Rowland-Jones and maybe Umesh Yadav to replace Milan once the 80 overs are up. Still 6 overs to go until the new ball's available. Milan in, bowls, and Jones just flicks that onto the leg side, no run.
I think the last Milan to play for here was Darwood, who during the COVID summer we had to have our windows open and he demanded they be shut because they were putting them off. Why he was staring up at our commentary position and not the ball, I don't know. So we had a Mexican standoff.
Milan in again, and Jones again to flick this to mid wicket, no run.
He was at Middlesex, wasn't he, Darwin Milan? Yep. And Yorkshire last year.
Maybe he felt like he didn't want the commentary to affect him, which is why he wanted the Mexican standoff.
It was bizarre because the last time he played in a game against Durham, there was a building site at one end at Lords, which didn't seem to bother him.
Jones drives this, but Milan is able to get a hand to it and stop it for no run.
With diggers going backwards and forwards and flashing lights and massive tipper trucks.
And didn't complain?
No, I think he got a lot of runs that day. It's a funny old world.
Milan turns again and starts his run up. In and bowls, and Jones goes back to it, looking for a quick single to get there. Batter's getting the chance at... Oh! Batter's got in each other's way there. Jones was kind of signalling to Borthwick whether he wanted the single or not. Borthwick then made the exact decision to do it. They got in each other's way, and if it was a direct hit, you'd have guessed Jones would have been short of his ground. But managed to scarper through for a quick single.
Well, the throw from Holman wasn't the best. He came up to mid sort of
cover,
middle of the square to throw it, but it went head height towards the bowler, and the bowler then backed out the ropes. I think he lost sight of it momentarily.
Man out on the deep point boundary for Borthwick. 2 men back on the leg side. You got square leg and long leg. He now moves a little bit. Both move a little bit finer. Short mid wicket in his play. He goes man, and Borthwick looks to guide that down to the boundary, and he has done. Will he get the boundary? I don't think so. Bamba's gone after it and will cut it off quite safely, and the batters will get 2. Very soft shot there, soft hands, just guided it into the surface and through the vacant third man region. He moves to 30 off 75. Durham are currently on 210. 1 ball left from Milan in this over. In again and bowls, and Borthwick looks to drive back past him, but Milan gets hand to it and knocks the bails off after stopping the ball. End of the over. Durham remain 210 for 1.
Got a follow during the lunch interval by Steve Hillier, and I thought the name rings a bell. How do I know that name? I couldn't think, and then I checked on his profile, and he's one of the founding members of Dubstar, the indie dance group from the 90s, who actually began in Newcastle. So he set the band up with Chris Wilkie in Newcastle, and then Sarah Blackwood, the singer, joined them the following year. They had some big hits in the mid to late 90s, and they've reformed. They've brought out a new album called 2, which is very good. It's got the old iconic car park from Gateshead on the front cover, the Get Carter car park. As this is played away by Jones to mid-off for 1 run off Holman. And I've had to listen to it quite a lot recently, and it's very good. It's like being transported back to the mid-90s, and they have recaptured their sound again if they ever lost it. So if you like Dubstar back in the day, then check that one out. In comes Holman once again, flights that right into Borthwick, and it's dug out by Borthwick. Lots of dust coming up there. It was right in the foothole. I'm just wondering if Steve's a cricket fan or not. He might be a Durham fan, given that it's from the northeast. Holman bowls, that's a quicker delivery, and played away by Borthwick out through the covers. 1 run. 212 for 1 Durham. Put in yesterday morning, batted through until 2:45 yesterday when the heavens opened, and that was the end of the day's play. And a slight delay of 15 minutes this morning as well. So this is a drive by Jones. That looked nice, right out the middle of the bat, now towards the point boundary for 1. I think we'll probably be on air until about 7 this evening, I would imagine. These days end up being rather long ones.
In for the long haul.
Yeah. Remember 2 or 3 years ago at Edgbaston, we were still commentating at 7:30 one day. This is played away by Borthwick to mid-wicket. That was after some hailstorms and things.
7:30, did you say?
Yeah, we're still on air about 7:30, 20 to 8 one night. And this is the risk when you book the lines for the commentaries. You've got to add in a few extra hours at the end of the day's play, just in case. Pull shot from Borthwick, and it's away for 4. There's a man here, short mid-wicket, but it was beyond him.
Bit of a drag down to end the over, and Borthwick gave it the treatment.
Nice aggressive shot, that one, from Scott Borthwick. So He moves on to 35, Durham 217 for 1. At the other end, Michael Jones has 123, and their partnership 72 runs-ish now, I think. No, make that 76 runs with a 4 to go on. So 1 wicket falling this morning. That was the 5th over of the day's play, and there's been nothing since from a Middlesex point of view. The 2 o'clock news is just starting in my ear.
In comes Milan, bowls, and Jones just defends that straight back to the bowler, no run. Bit of a fly slip in place for Milan. In again, bowls, and Jones turns this to the leg side to deep mid wicket, patrolling the boundary. They'll just get a single. Moves himself on to 124.
At one time, they used to have all the fielding positions in the back of the Playfair Cricket Annual, but they haven't had them in for the last few years. But fly slip always intrigued me because you never really saw it used at all.
I'm not sure if fly slip is best described, because I guess if Milan was slightly quicker, it would be a traditional slip, but with Milan being sort of gentle medium pace, I guess it is a fly slip. Milan into Borthwick now. Borthwick just drives, and it's a slight misfield at short cover, and they'll scamper through for a single. The fly slip's sort of close enough in, if there was a healthy edge, it would carry comfortably, but also probably further back than you would expect. I guess Simpson standing up to Milan kind of makes him a fly slip, as in he comes again to Jones. Jones looks to squirt that through backward point, but Holman stops it, no run.
Yeah, I would say, looking on the chart, that's roughly where a fly slip would be.
First time I've seen one in a long time.
Yeah, it's more behind the wicket keeper than a gully would be.
Milan in again. Jones just gets forward and defends, no run. 1 ball left in the over. Just I've seen that as sort of on a video game type thing, where you change the settings almost to get yourself onto 285 not out, and the fielding side just puts everyone back out and has a fly slip in place instead of a regular slip. Milan then to finish the over, and Jones looks to drive but straight to short cover, no run. End of the over. Durham 219 for 1.
I think it was Northampton, a T20 game 2 or 3 years ago. They took the keeper out of the match and just put in a fly slip.
Why are they taking the keeper out? That's my.
Oh, are we looking at the ball here? What's happened? No.
It's not an even. 77 overs bowled. It's not an even over. You can't ask for it to be checked.
Well, when was it changed? 40 overs?
Yeah. I was going to say, why did they take the keeper out? Was it injuries?
They just felt it. No, they felt it was down to the last over, and they were trying to stop runs, and they thought they were better off stopping runs with a fly slip in place. So the keeper took his gloves off and went and stood down there. Holman is coming right arm round to Borthwick from the Finkel end. There's a sweep from Borthwick down to long leg for 1. Just looking at the amount of dust that's coming up when shots are being played here, it does look very dry out there, despite the overnight rain. Holman over the wicket, driven by Jones, straight down the field for 4. And I think it might be Helm standing at...
Is it Helm with the floppy?
Yeah, at mid-off, and he never saw that at all. He put his arms up as if to say, I don't know where that's gone, but I mean, it was wide of him anyway.
He made his mind up straight away, Jones. He was going to come down and meet it with full face of the bat, and exquisite shot straight back over the bowler's head.
.224 for 1. Off the back foot, nice punch shot past point. There's a man out sweeping on the boundary, 1 run. So fielded in the deep there. I think there might be Sam Robson way out there. Here's an update for Yes, we have a longish day here. They're squeezing in a few extra overs lost to the weather yesterday, and that follows a delayed start of 15 minutes this morning, so they could be well playing up to 7 o'clock tonight. Durham doing quite nicely here in their first innings. They're just a wicket down, and they've got 225 runs on the board. Scott Borthwick has 37 of those. At the other end, Michael Jones is on 129. So these two have put on 84 runs in 170 deliveries, and that was after an opening stand earlier when Alex Lees made 46 in an opening stand with Jones of 141 before he was then bowled fifth over of the day by Toby Rowland Jones. So Durham going along nicely here. The new ball will be due for Middlesex in 2 overs time. That might make a little bit of a difference. Commentary on the BBC website and the sports app. This is played from Jones up to mid-on for 1 run. And that is the end of the over. 227 for 1.
Very comfortable start to the afternoon session here for Durham. Middlesex do look like they're very much just playing for the 80 overs and a new ball to come in. Durham have been able to rotate the strike between the two, put away some bad balls and get some extra runs on the board before the threat of the new ball was able to come into play.
Norman Robinson's been on. He says, hi Marty, cracking commentary and banter as usual. Did your Sri Lankan curry match up to the many on offer down Ocean Road in South Shields, he asks.
Milan in, and Jones looks to play off the back foot. A diving stop by short extra cover means there's no run. I said it was
Curry was a winner, wasn't it, Kev?
It was brilliant.
Yeah, everybody was happy with their curries.
There was
naan bread in there as well.
I think it was the most popular choice amongst everyone in the press box today.
Yeah, it all got a thumbs up all round today.
Milan in. Jones looks to play off the back foot, and he does. He cuts just in front of square on the offside, and they'll just nab a single. Is that Liam Travaskis returning from a net session just in front of us?
It's quite busy around the nets at lunchtime. The coaches were in there with a few of the players, and Liam was having a net session. I think he might have recently been struggling with a bit of a sore arm or a shoulder, but he's been netting today. There's quite a few people around there watching as well.
He does have an elbow guard on his right elbow, so that might be why. Holman goes back sort of to deep fine leg for Borthwick. Milan bowls to him now. Borthwick drives past him but stopped on the offside.
Kyle Coates, the former Durham player, Northants player, who's recently retired as Scotland captain, liking the tweet in which Scotland won the international call-up. Michael Jones reached his century earlier.
Milan in, bowls, and Borthwick looks to cut but misses it, and there was a half-hearted shout for caught behind by wicketkeeper Simpson, but nothing doing. Borthwick looked to try to cut that one between fly slip and a very deep backward point, sort of not trying to the boundary but not in a catching position, but just couldn't get counter down it. Milan in again. Borthwick drives now to the man on the boundary at point. It'll just be an easy single to rotate the strike. He moves to 39 off 87. 1 ball left for Milan in this over. Should then have just 1 more over left from Holman until Middlesex inevitably take the new ball bang on 80 overs. Milan to Jones. In and bowls, and Jones just plays that to short extra cover for no run. Durham 229 for 1 at the end of the 79th over.
Kev's pacing around back and forth behind me. We'll bring him back on here in a minute or two. I'll do this over and you can jump back on, Kev. Is that a thumbs up? Yeah. In fact, I'll be back in a sec. I've just spotted something that's an issue. You just start this over.
Holman to Borthwick. Borthwick just lets this sail past the off stump. 2 maidens, 0 for 34 for Holman as he begins his 11th over. comes in again, slightly shorter, and Borthwick cuts that in front of square to the man at the deep point boundary and will get a couple. Moves himself into the 40s, starting to up his strike rate a little bit, and now moves into 41 off 89 at a strike rate of about 46. Jones still striking at above 50. Managed to get himself in, and we're now looking to cash in on his score. In comes Holman again, slightly fuller, and Borthwick just prods forward to the man at short extra cover. Holman again, slightly shorter, and Borthwick again cuts him to the man at deep point for an easy single. Slightly suggesting as he made his ground at the non-strikers end that there was a little bit of turn away from Holman. 2 deliveries left until the new ball is available. Holman in, and Jones just goes back and defends into the leg side. Final ball of the 79th over. Holman in, Jones goes back and just gently taps it down towards the man on the long on boundary for a single. 80 overs have been bowled. Durham 233 for 1, and the new ball is now available to be taken. And as widely expected, Middlesex, I think, have indeed taken a new ball. Wait for the single from the umpire. And indeed it has been taken. Ethan Bamber returning at the ...17 overs, 4 maidens, 0 for 50 for Bamber. Kind of a rate of just under 3. 2 slips and a... looks like a gully, I'd say. In for Jones. Bamber looks to start off spell with a second new ball for Middlesex. He's in and bowls, and Jones plays that towards backward point for no run. Afternoon. Bit of a slow start for Middlesex, but hopefully now the new ball can do something for them as Bamber's in again. Jones turns this away. Borthwick looking for the quick single, but man at square leg makes sure that there isn't one.
Yeah, good on Bamber that he's got the new ball. Maybe it's just because he's in a spell and they said, well, go on, you have another go with the new ball and see how you go. But good to see him back in the side and new ball in hand. Middlesex needs something desperately here, don't they? Just to
break the momentum that.
Well, they've got it up to 2.9. It's still, below 3, which is good from Middlesex's perspective. The run rate.
Bamber in. Jones plays and misses outside the off stump.
I've said that often, have we? Not since that first morning. Yesterday morning seems like a long way away, a long time ago now. When Bamber was challenging the inside edge, really, of Jones. Tucked him up on a couple of occasions, but Jones has batted so well since. Brilliant innings, hopping away on his toes at the moment, getting his blood pumping again after lunch. 24 minutes into this session.
Bamber in, and Jones just defends into the offside for no run.
Yeah, it's good. It should be fun, this next little passage of play now, because again, Middlesex, they have an exciting quartet. Let's say it's Bamber and Roland Jones who take the new ball, followed by Helm and Yadev, one who's Been a fine pro for India, and the other who would love to get into that England Test side. When he's at his best, he's irresistible, Helm.
Bamber in. Jones looks to flash that on the up.
That climbed off at shortish length.
Carries safely through to Simpson from his perspective.
I mean, Simpson's taken that a long way above his head. We haven't seen much of that in this match, have we? We've seen balls taking edges, keeping low, passing outside the off stump on the bounce through to the keeper. That one's absolutely flown off. A little bit of width, which invited the cut from Jones, but a lot of bounce, a lot of climb there. A good pace.
Very good indeed. It's the first time we've seen Jones try to really uppercut it in not frustration, but put all his energy into it. Bamber in, and Jones wisely leaves this one outside the off stump. Durham 233 for 1.
Enough in
81 overs.
Enough in that over, I think, to suggest Middlesex for the next little while. A maiden from Bamber, well bowled, done for 50 from 18. 5 maidens. Could see him on his return. Here's Roland Jones taking off the sweater. Enough in that Bamber over to suggest that this should be a fine little spell here, and if Durham come out on top of this spell, then you really say well batted, well played. You've got a guy who's on 132, Borthwick on 42. They've got a real opportunity to build here against the new ball, and if they do, then Durham can really then take a very secure footing in this match. It's already secure, 200 and odd for 1, but this is Middlesex's chance now to try and bite back at them. Just keep a little bit on this. I mean, look, a couple of wickets and Middlesex will be thinking 400. Then Middlesex come and do the same themselves, 400, and then it's over to the third innings again. Does it wobble or not? It wobbled for Sussex last week. Would it wobble here for Durham? When there's only one side by that point that can lose the match, and that's where the wobble comes from. But they do need something hard and fast here, Middlesex. They've got 2 slips and a gully, a point, a cover and a mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg, and Roland Jones steams away from us. Right arm over, he bowls to Borthwick, who's leaving alone outside the off stump. Through it goes. This is the moment that we've waited for a while, really, for the tension to return. We've been off on all sorts of tangents this morning as the cricket's trickled along for both, almost happily. Middlesex have kept control over it. Durham have had their own control. Scoring rates, Borthwick scoring up towards 50 now, 45 his strike rate. Jones has always been above 50 throughout this innings. Run rate 2.9. Of course, they'd loved it to have been higher, Durham, but they're up against a quality seam attack as Roland Jones bowls and strikes a midship. Borthwick, he's down on the floor, and that hurt, and he's up on all fours and picks himself up, and
he got hit in the unmentionables.
Yes,
but very quick to get back up on his feet.
Yeah.
Regulation mid-wicket in for Borthwick. I still remember the very first boundary he got in the innings, the one where he flicked off his legs in between 2 shortish mid-wickets that you guys had in.
Roland Jones bowls, and this ball's left alone outside off stump. Look at that die on the way through to Simpson. We see that ball to Bamber really take off, and that's where, again, if weather's kind in this match, and we've got a full 3 days, there's a lot of cricket still to be had, and it only takes half a session for a game to come to life, really, and pressure to be created. You had to have warming up at mid-off. Left-handed Borthwick on strike. You'd imagine he's going to take over from Bamber. As good an opening over that was. Maybe he'll get one more. But here's Roland Jones into the crease now. He bowls. Oh, it keeps low. Goodness me, he's got the bat down on that well, Borthwick. Well, it's taken 95, 96 deliveries to be able to have your eye in to keep that one out. Really did keep low. He was on the back foot there to Roland Jones.
We are now, like you mentioned, we're now starting to see some variable bounce in this wicket.
And the new ball is going to find more, isn't it? That harder new ball will either find a little bit of climb, or it will find, keeps low. It's exaggerated, isn't it, with a newer ball, harder ball. And that's why this passage now is going to be so interesting. Should be fun, this. Roland Jones, little skip to get him going. Long, stridey approach. He bowls now, and forward goes Borthwick. Right in behind this one. Cover swooping around is Peter Milan, who completed it. In fact, it's Stoneman, my apologies. I keep getting those two confused. Why do I keep getting those two confused? They both wear the same hat. Milan has sunglasses on top of his hat. Stoneman is wearing a sweater. The South African Milan is not. That's a bit like me coming up here wearing shorts and Martin wearing his thermals and all sorts. Peter Milan looks quite content in his top at mid-wicket as Roland Jones is in, bowls inside edge onto the pads again as he looks to drive, and on drive Roland Jones has his hands on his head, and that was again another excitable over with the new ball for Middlesex. Just the whole match at the moment, be it whether Durham get on top of this passage or Middlesex do find that way through, you just feel like this next half an hour, 40 minutes will be really shapely for certainly the remainder of the day, but certainly the next couple of days really. 233 for 1.
Probing from Roland Jones is what I'd use to describe that over. Challenging both edges, obviously tucking Borthwick up for room on the leg side, and then I think that last one, just looking back on it, maybe a little bit of in-swing. Borthwick had it covered, but a little bit of in-swing towards him.
Oh, did it go through the air? I haven't got the stream in front of me. Let's have a look.
I believe it did.
It's Bamber.
Bamber in, and Jones prods forward and defends. I'm going to have to scroll forward a little bit.
That's alright.
Let it run through.
We've got time. Listeners will be doing the same at home. They'll perhaps have it on the BBC app listening and then scroll through the stream as they wish. Which one was that? That was the penultimate ball of the over, wasn't it? Little trick is that one, isn't it? 5 seconds forward. There we go. Someone introduced me to that the other day. Press right in your cursor and it goes nicely forward 5 seconds for you. Let's have a look. Did it go through the air?
Bamber in, and Jones just forwards. Bamber falls over at the end of his in his follow through.
Well, he'll probably be fancying. Yadov's warming up, so he's going to be fancying. This isn't going to be a long spell, so
give it everything.
Yeah,
give it everything you got, and then you'll enjoy a nice 12 to 13 over rest.
He's been out
at the end of it.
He's been out of the side for a while. He'll want a wicket, none for 50 in his 19th. Feels he hasn't bowled well enough this year, and he is 6th in the lineup, I think, this year on the averages in the bowling stakes. But goodness me, he's a wonderful bowler. He shouldn't be too hard on himself.
In again, and Jones defends this into the leg side, and Peter Milan fields.
And there you go. The questions are being asked. He's on the spot, guys, at 132.
He's well set. He's sort of not really been troubled by much. And
no, but Bamber's gone past his edge in the last over. He found that lifting delivery there as well. That was a tentative push forward from Jones. It didn't feel like he was quite happy with where he was with it. But equally, he's playing that well, because that means the ball's doing a little bit. It did seem, as we heard first thing yesterday morning, but came soft quite quickly, that seam, and the movement stopped very early on, unusually early on, even for this batch of balls.
Bamber in. Jones plays and misses outside the off stump.
This is good. This is really good from Bamber. Quality line and length bowling.
Tight line, fourth stump. Trying to create doubt in Jones's mind. He'll get his hard on when he's 132 not out, but like you said yesterday, sort of you'd exaggerate the basics and take them really far until you tried something different, and this is what Bamber's doing in a minute. Just
straight to the basics now. Yeah,
just fourth stump, line and length, get him playing, because if he's not playing then you can't get him out.
Yeah,
so you'll be looking to try and just get something out of him. Here he is again, and Jones again playing and missing outside the off stump.
Look, we've waited 83 overs really. There were a couple of overs to begin with yesterday that were excitable, weren't they? But we've waited 83 overs for this, and now it feels like we've got a proper game of cricket going again. Middlesex felt that ball was rough yesterday. They really did. It took them 40 odd overs to get it replaced, and I know Marcy made the point with me. They didn't seem to be trying to get it replaced that often yesterday morning, but they said they were very unhappy with it very early on, and maybe there were just conversations at that point, because it wasn't a case of whether it goes through their issue wasn't a case of the size of the ball or the shape of the ball. Beats him again through to the keeper at dot ball. End of the over. 83 gone. 233 for 1. Another maiden from Bamber. 6 maidens in 19. Back-to-back maidens from the Lumley end. And he's surely bought himself another over with the way he's bowled there. He's beaten the bat. He's done as many times in that over as probably we've seen the bat beaten all day.
He's done everything he can. He's not put a foot wrong.
I like Bamber, just in case listeners can't tell. He's a good bowler.
Really?
He's a good bowler. He's always in he's got so much energy. So much energy, so much effort.
The thing we mentioned on comms yesterday, he's only 23?
Yeah, and his accuracy is the thing. Since he broke through to the side at 18, his accuracy has just been relentless. He's forever on that spot. And full of energy, not much more you can ask for. Here's Roland Jones, who's rarely off the spot either. He bowls and just slightly squares up Borthwick on the back foot. The ball squirts away towards point and there's no run. And Yeah, it just feels out there at the moment as though if Middlesex can get one here, they might just be able to get a little roll going and get into a rhythm. You can see that they've started well here, Roland Jones and Bamber. They've set a good marker for this session with the new ball for Yadav and Helm to follow. But these two will very much hope that they can do some damage in the first instance. Roland Jones turns just down below us in the media centre, away to our left, runs in, bowls and a forward defence into the onside from Borthwick inside of the bat again.
Just had a message off my Yorkshire friend. They've got Hampshire 12 for 3. Down at
Scarborough.
Yeah, no, we did well to reduce them with the bat to start with. It doesn't mean anything if we can't bat in return. So
12 for 3. Who's got the wickets?
I think Ben Code has picked up Gubbins. I think.
Oh no, Gubbo.
He picked up Holland as well.
Roland Jones. He's past the umpire. He bowls. It's short and it's cut hard. 4 runs. Borthwick's on to 46. 237 for 1. And this is a point where, as I say, it could go one of two ways here. If Borthwick and Jones get on top of this bowling now, then Durham really will be getting on top of the position in the match. Slightly
back of a length from Roland Jones. Not a bad delivery, I mean, maybe the little extra bouncer we talked about that he gets. Extra bounce off the wicket and is sort of in Borthwick's V area that he's just able to navigate behind point.
Well, he's happily gone back when perhaps he shouldn't have on a couple of occasions, but that little bit of width just allows him to free up the arms there to Roland Jones. He's got a double teapot on, annoyed with himself for the width. I don't mind exploring the length. It is that kind of track that there isn't enough seam movement out there. There's rarely been swing. It's not that kind of track that you can hang one really outside often and hope. As Roland Jones up to the crease, bowls, and this ball's clipped to mid-wicket. Good tumbling stop by Milan. Saves a certain boundary there. Borthwick remains on 46. Good Middlesex contingent in for this one as well, I think. A July trip to Durham. No better time of year to come to July, is there? I mean, Marcy and I can hark back to a few April and September trips to Durham. That'll put a few off. And then, I'm not being facetious here, I'm not being mischievous with it at all, but it will, it's a long way to come if the weather's going to be iffy. So, July trip to Durham, there's no better time to come.
April 2016, we lost 2 days to snow.
Yeah, April 2016, lost 2 days to snow. Exactly, that's what I mean.
It snowed at the Oval that weekend.
It did snow at the Oval that weekend, in fairness, yes it did. Roland Jones to Borthwick, turns through mid-wicket, that's a nice shot, clipped wide of Helm at mid-on. They'll get a couple here, he'll move to 48, they'll think about the third. Back they come, he's on to 49 from 102 deliveries. Bothersome Borthwick's at it again against Middlesex. 240 for 1. Yeah, that's exactly it though. If you got an iffy bit of rain around or iffy bit of weather around in April and you think, do I make the trip down to Brighton? Oh, go on then. But an iffy bit of weather around, do I make the trip up to Durham? It's a long old way to go if the weather's iffy. So a July fixture in Chesterley Street, you're giving yourself no better chance, are you, if you're going to make the journey all the way up? Marty's got his stats at hand. You might be off in a minute, Rob. His 3 slips going down as Roland Jones bowls the last ball of the 19th, and just back of a length, it's eased along the floor towards third slip on the move by Jones. He remains on 132. Borthwick will have strike on 49. 240 for 1. We're just about to hit half past. Do you have half past to do as well? Oh no, only top of the hour for Marty. Good over again from Roland Jones. Just that one that got away with a bit of width.
To finish off the inquiry we had, Ben Coder's got 2 of the 3 Hampshire wickets to fall. Holland and Gubbins, and Jordan Thompson got Felix Organ LBW. Not been a good start in reply to Yorkshire's 156 not out, all out, 159 all out at Scarborough. Obviously been stop-start there with the inclement weather. It'll be Bamber to Borthwick, who's on 49 from 102 deliveries, strike rate of just under 50. Tom Helm has taken his floppy off and is going through some warm-up exercises down at long leg. Maybe he'll replace the skipper shortly. As Bamber charges in past the umpire, Borthwick defends, very quick single taken, and that will bring up the Durham skipper's 50. Took a while to get going, but once he got going and got offered some wide deliveries, he climbed in and got himself set, and it's a very well played 50 from the Durham skip. The 50 off 103 deliveries, strike rate of 48.5 with 4 fours.
The 77th time Borthwick has reached 50 in first class cricket, 54th time for Durham. It's also the 100 partnership of 209 balls, 50 for Borthwick, Jones 45, and it comes in 103 balls, 4 fours, this 50 for him. Thank you, Martin. He's giving me the stat sheet.
Very nice, just drop and run into the offside from Borthwick led to bring up his 50. Bamber now will bowl to Jones. Jones looks to drive but can't get it past mid-off. Seems to be a slips meeting going on in terms of how do we approach this now.
Eskenazi and Robson, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they aren't listening to us while they're playing, but I feel like they'll be echoing your thoughts in terms of the way they're going. They're going to get on top of this, and
no, I don't think they will get on top of this the way they're going. I think that it's in the balance at the moment. I think it's very, very possible that Middlesex pick up a couple here.
Bamber in and Jones leaves. Slight bit of extra bounce through to Simpson, no run.
But if they don't, then there's the potential for these two to get on top. And if they do get on top, then it's trouble for Middlesex. But that's a long way to go. We're only, 5th over of this second new ball. And, both Bamber and Roland Jones, they'll be finding out a little bit about this new ball because, we talk about them sticking to the basics, top of off, but they'll also be thinking, right, is it going to swing a bit? Is it going to seam a bit, this one? Can I put it on this length or this line and it'll happen?
Bamber in again, and Jones flicks that. Is that caught?
Put down by
Milan at mid-wicket.
Now, did it carry? The cry was catch.
Don't even know if it went for a bat. I presume it went for a...
No.
Then they scrambled through
They got through a single, yeah. We're just looking at the replay now. You'll get it on your screen there as well. I don't know if the camera kept up with the ball, did it? And even if it did, it would have gone at such a pace it would have been hard to see.
The shout was definitely catch.
It looked as though it was catch. Yeah, no. That looks as though what happened with Bamber. We'll have a look now and see if it didn't follow the ball, it might at least follow the bowler, the camera. It's very difficult. Should add, that's not criticism of the camera.
Bamber into Borthwick now, and Borthwick hit on the pads but pitched outside legs, so no chance of an LW appeal.
Oh, where are we? We're another ball to go up. We were too far behind there. We have to do our 5-second thing, our 5-second rule. To keep pressing right till we get to the point. Wait, which one now was the catch? We've gone past it, have we?
Yeah,
do I need to go back further?
The catch was on the
It was the 4th ball.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go back and see.
Bamber in to finish the over. Into Borthwick, and Borthwick drives him exquisitely through the covers for another 4 runs to bring up Durham to 246 for 1. He moves on to 54. Jones remains on 133. Little bit of width offered from Bamber, and Borthwick dispatches him through the covers.
You can't tell from the replays, but I'd suggest that the reactions
is a drop.
It's a drop. Milan almost looks disappointed. He kind of looks back at the ground, looks at his hand. Maybe he's looking at the ground because it didn't quite carry. So a half